All right. Good afternoon or good evening for everyone from everywhere you're hearing me from. I want to believe everyone is already awaiting today's edition of our next gen cloud series. I'm Abolaji Abdurrahman by name, and I'm so pleased to join you today with our insightful speaker that we've gotten here in person of Dr. Paul Aderoju to give you some insightful knowledge about the topic of today. I welcome you all. Kindly, if you're joining us from anywhere, kindly drop in the comments. We're going to be starting soon. Yeah, for today's topic, we are looking at a very critical topic because we try to understand that uh, when a lot of people are not aware of what cloud can do in terms of its ability, its capability, the solution that it can give to businesses. They want to like take it from the start, from the scratch. For people who don't even know anything about cloud, how can you use cloud to scale faster? I mean, scale your business faster at the same time trying to save cost while you are also working smart. And the era of today is about not how how often are you show, is about how smart that you are delivering your services or solution to your customers. And today we have in the call in person of Mr. Paul Aderoju, will be sharing more light into the topic, and I'm so pleased to welcome Mr. Paul Aderoju in today's edition of Next Gen Cloud series. Mr. Paul, can you have the floor, please?
All right. Thank you very much, Abulaji, for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and good evening. Um, Welcome to today's session. So today, we'll be looking at the topic from local to global: how AWS Cloud helps your business scale faster, save costs, and work smarter. So today, I'll show you how the AWS Cloud can transform businesses, letting you expand beyond borders, beyond limitations. Also, I'll be talking about how you can reduce infrastructure costs and how AWS Cloud allows teams to focus on products and customers. So, we'll be covering business challenges, real life examples of cloud driven transformations and innovations. And then we'll talk about the AWS global infrastructure, how the advantages of AWS global infrastructure, how to get started, and then practical next steps for your organization. All right, so let's move ahead. So we'll start by looking at the core business challenges companies face when trying to scale. Right. So why do businesses struggle to scale? So the first point here is limited geographic expansion. Right. So opening new physical infrastructure in every new country or new region that you open your businesses is going to be very costly and it's going to be very slow. And with that, it also carries lots of regulatory and operational complexity. That is one of the challenges that faces business when they try to scale. Next one is high fixed costs. So on premises setups, like setups for your servers or databases on premises, would require you to spend a large amount of upfront money, and also you'd spend a lot of operational expenditure on recurring maintenance costs for your servers, cost of electricity, cost of cooling, cost of scheduling maintenance, cost of getting licenses also, and this is capital that you could use for growth in terms of marketing and other things. Also, another struggle that businesses feel is that are really slow to adapt. So long periods of procurement cycles, long lead times, and manual processing would mean organizations would miss market windows. You know, there are sometimes that some opportunities will come and you have to take them quickly, right? And then the last one I'm talking about is resource inefficiency. So what this means is that at times your team's provision for worst case peak loads, and then you end up underutilizing your resources. So this boils down to being able to right size your cloud infrastructure to ensure that you are not overspending or underspending. We are just resources are just at the right sizes, right? So, for example, many small and medium scale businesses I speak to usually hesitate to expand regionally because of the capital required and definitely because of the um, staff that they would need. So, and these challenges are exactly where the cloud gives a lot of value. And this is not just in technology, but also in terms of business and business agility. So, looking at that in the next slide, the AWS Global Reach, the AWS Global Infrastructure. This is your competitive advantage. One of AWS's biggest advantages is its global footprint. So AWS has a network of regions, availability zones, and edge locations that will give you low latency performance and resilience. AWS operates many geographic regions and edge locations globally, and these physical footprints lets you place your services closer to your customers for better performance and also to with complying with data residency needs. So one of the things to note is that in terms of performance, deploying services closer to your customers will lower latency. For example, if you're building a service, a global service, for example, now you build like maybe a metaphorical new social media application, and you plan already, okay, maybe, and you push this out to production and your beta phase, you're seeing that a lot of customers are getting onboarded, and you're seeing, oh, you live in Nigeria, you work in Nigeria, and then you're seeing that you're having new signups from places like Australia, Papua New Guinea, or places like New York, or somewhere in where else is very far, maybe somewhere in Iceland, right? So if you were to deploy your application, maybe just within Africa, yeah, right? Whoever is trying to make an API call to your application or is trying to probably just even load the landing page or something, you experience lots of latency. So I'm talking of people that are trying to access your application from far places would experience lots of latency, and this can lead to your customers being dissatisfied or even outrightly frustrated. So, but by taking advantage of AWS's global footprints, be able to deploy services closer to your customers. That will lower latency. It will improve your user experience. Your users will be more satisfied. And to also reduce page load times. So, and this directly leads to conversion. Because of this, I mean, once people have a positive experience with your application and service, there's a tendency that they'll likely want to come back again, right? Also, with AWS, you're able to build and deploy resilient infrastructure. So with AWS, you have the opportunity to deploy multi-availability zone deployments, in the sense that if one availability zone is down, the other one can be up. So in that way, you're making sure that your infrastructure is resilient, and that will also give you built-in redundancy and will help maintain your service availability during localized failures. And then in terms of compliance and residency, data residency, which is a very big issue now. So different countries in different locations and different regions have different compliance needs and data residency needs, right? So with AWS is HIPAA compliance. AWS complies with both local and international data residency standards. So for all countries where AWS has their regions or their local zones availability at locations in, you're ensured that AWS is very compliant with all the local and regional data residency standards there. So in deploying your applications, you're very sure of the fact that your data is HIPAA compliant and it meets all the regulatory standards that are there, which definitely is going to save you from things like lawsuits and stuff like that. So For African businesses, I mean, AWS regions in and near the continent can help you as an African business owner deliver substantially better user experience to customers across borders. So now let's look at real world examples of how companies. So I'm going to use real world example of big multinational companies, how they have been able to use AWS to work smarter. So this is just a diagram showing you AWS's global infrastructure and its disadvantage. So the red dots stand for the I think local zones, and then green dots are the regions. You also have some yellow dots, head locations. Yeah. So looking at some use cases here. The first we're talking about is Netflix. I'm very sure everybody knows Netflix. They're down. So Netflix is a very well-known example of a company that has built a cloud-centric, highly automated platform to deliver videos globally. So a key challenge that they had was that they needed extreme elasticity, global presence, and a robust analytics and personalization platform. So I'm very sure most of you, once you go to Netflix and you watch a single movie, Netflix has a recommendation engine that keeps recommending movies to you based on your preferences, right? So, and the role of that AWS is playing here is that Netflix uses lots of AWS building blocks in terms of compute storage, content delivery, and messaging to scale seamlessly to millions of viewers. And the business outcome from this is that a cloud first architecture has enabled Netflix to focus on product innovation rather than running data centers. So imagine Netflix, apart from building the application, apart from, oops, sorry. So Netflix, apart from building the application, apart from deploying, apart from their marketing strategies, imagine they have to be running physical data centers by themselves in maybe different countries. So you just imagine the cost of that, the operational overhead, the manpower that will be needed. But Netflix being deployed on AWS or taking advantage of several AWS services, they have the ability now to focus more on product innovation, right? And rather than running data centers. And then the automation and self-service has freed their engineers to iterate quickly and to continuously develop features. So my advice from this particular use case is that you should focus more on business outcomes, so which is agility, reduce time to markets, and your global reach by taking advantage of AWS. The next example we'll look at is Airbnb. So this is an example where speed and developer self-services were key. So Airbnb, I'm very sure everybody knows Airbnb. They're very, very common now in Nigeria, in Lagos here. I mean, as I think maybe 2, 3 years ago, Airbnb was just like this foreign concept. But recently with the December thing that happens every year, um, lots of Nigerians are taking advantage of the opportunity to let out their apartments, right? So while that's why Airbnb, even here in Nigeria now, is becoming a very popular service, right? So it's good to look at how they have been able to take advantage of AWS to achieve everything they're doing today. So they adopted cloud services to remove operational friction and to let their engineers move very fast. So the key challenge that they faced was that they needed a platform that supported rapid provisioning of resources, elastic capacity, and large-scale data processing, right? So Airbnb, they use lots of services from AWS. I mean, so these services I'm listing here, they are not exhaustive or just they are just some of the services, the key services that just have to pin out or pinpoint from each of these use cases. And these use cases are live on AWS. AWS publishes blogs about these use cases. Maybe at the end of the session, I can send you the links so you can read up these use cases yourself. So the challenge is that Airbnb needed a platform, sorry, to support here rapid provisioning of instances and resources and data, large scale data processing. So they were able to use AWS managed data processing and storage services to build a very flexible stack for developers. And this had very positive business outcomes. So self-service provisioning, automated scaling, and managed services enabled quick iteration on product features and reliable operation at scale. And many startups, not just Airbnb, choose cloud to replace lengthy procurement service with self-service developer tools. And this directly shortens feature delivery timelines, right? And then for large enterprises with hundreds of teams, would we look at another example. Yeah, this is Expedia Group, um, which shows how they were able to tame complexity and scale governance. So Expedia operates many brands and teams. So it's one of the largest multinational is it- multinational organizations or companies in the world. So they operate many brands and teams, and they needed governance and self-service and the ability to scale databases and perform services consistently rather. And a key challenge was that when organizations grow to hundreds of teams, it is very difficult to be consistent across data governance environments. And that was a very big problem for Expedia Group. So, what role did AWS play in this? Um, Expedia were able to build internal platforms on AWS to standardize provisioning. So, this gave developers self service while ensuring policies and controls were in place. So, the business outcome from this was that the standardization reduced operational burden. It improved compliance posturing. So, as I said, Expedia Group is a multinational company. So, and definitely every country or region where they are in, they need to make sure that they are compliant with the local regulatory standards there, right? And by adopting AWS and leveraging AWS, they're able to reduce operational burden, they're able to improve their compliance posture, and this helped the company to scale platform usage across different brands. And the takeaway from this is that if the organization is growing, you should start thinking about platform engineering and governance early. You know, governance is very, as I said earlier, is a very key aspect of data regulations and privacy now. So you need to make sure that um, you are compliant and you're also your compliance posturing is adequate. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Adobe, which is an example that shows the cloud's role in accelerating artificial intelligence and machine learning development. So as we all know, we're in the age of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and I think one of the should I say one of the advantages of the cloud, especially AWS cloud, is the fact that it reduces your time to innovation. What do I mean? The latest services in terms of artificial intelligence, machine learning, agentic AI, name it, are usually available on the cloud. That is probably the first place you'd see it. So learning to take advantage of the cloud is going to basically give you an operational edge in your business. So Adobe used cloud GPUs and managed services to accelerate development of AI models for creative products. So the challenge they had is that large scale model training requires high performance computers that are fast and require fast storage and orchestration and a way to quickly iterate on data sets and code. So what role did AWS play in this? AWS is able to was able to provide rather cloud GPU instances, manage orchestration tools like EKS, and scalable storage, simplified experimentation, and reduce setup time for training. Using managed cloud infrastructures um, allowed Adobe to shorten the model development time and their cycles and be able to integrate AI features into their products faster, translating directly into product differentiation, giving them a market edge. So if asked, so now it's very good to know that, as I said earlier, that integrating AI services into your workloads is faster when you take advantage of resources on the cloud. So now let's shift to common patterns that you can expect in your early years of cloud adoption. So, across industries, successful cloud adopters tend to follow a common pattern in the first year, the second year, and beyond. So in the first year, what you are able to notice is there's going to be an immediate cost optimization opportunities, because when you are able to right size your infrastructure, you eliminate um, the cost of getting physical servers, that's on-premises servers, and you gain faster time to market, right? Because you are eliminating, cost of setting up your infrastructure, and also the operational cost of maintaining this infrastructure, right? And also, with the cloud, you're able to be assured of a 99.95% or plus percent uptime versus about a 95% to 98% on premises, depending, on lots of things, right? In the second year, cloud adopters are able to see expansion to new markets as a feasible option, because of the fact that customers and usage patterns typically grow as product improvements roll out, right? So as I said earlier, with the cloud, you're able to innovate faster, and then you're able to improve your product faster. And this would basically, this business implication of this is that you're able to expand to new markets faster. And by the third year and across, your the cloud becomes a very intimate part of your business, and enabling rapid features to be launched easily across your organization, and also giving you cost saving opportunities compared to slower operators. And these are patterns that are typical based on many migrations. Although definitely, in your cloud migration strategy, so if you follow the right steps, right, you can achieve this, right? But definitely, it might not be the case for everybody, but for most people or for most organizations, this is usually the case, right? So now, next we'll talk about the practical scenarios. Let's look at concrete problems. Like I want to give like specific use cases or problems, and our AWS service are able to address them. So now these are common business scenarios or that organizations usually have when we meet them, and and these are the ways that AWS is able to solve them, or the cloud itself is able to solve them. So firstly, we have heard several complaints like, oh, we want to expand to new African markets, but we lack local infrastructure. Right. So the practical AWS levels for this is that you trying to grow into a new country quickly without having to build local data centers. That is AWS's global network basically. You can deploy it to an AWS region that is close to your users. I mentioned this fact earlier during this presentation, and this reduces latency and supports regulatory needs. And also, it is going to improve the user experience on your application because of reduced latency. You can take advantage of things like Amazon CloudFront that will help you deliver static content globally quickly. We're also able to take advantage of services such as Amazon Route 53, which is an intelligent DNS routing for performance and resilience, right? And definitely with the use of AWS Lambda, which is a serverless compute resource from AWS, you can easily integrate multi-currency payments. I mean, just connect to the API or maybe of the payment gateway you want, and you can easily integrate that into your business. And using these primitives can help you launch services cross borders in hours. You get even or maybe hours to days, rather than weeks to months if we are trying to go to each country to set up a data center. Some regional banks and telcos actually use nearby regions to meet performance and regulatory needs, and this is a very important part of the operating business procedures, right? So let's also look at another question, which has to do with data protection and compliance. So another use case is that, oh, we need to process customer data, but data protection regulations are complex, which is very true. As I said earlier, different company and different countries, different regions have different data compliance needs and regulatory standards. And now there's ignorance will not you can't say you are being ignorant, right? maybe if you violate the regional data standard, you'll be held accountable for that, right? So with AWS, AWS is able to help you be data compliant and improve your compliance posture easily. Why? Because AWS itself is already compliant with regional um, data compliance needs. So you're able to store data in specific AWS regions, and this means that basically with AWS you would have auditability and control over where your data is stored. There are also several AWS services that you can leverage on. For instance, AWS KMS, which is the key management services, it will help you to encrypt your data. You can also use AWS CloudTrail, which will allow you to have full audit logs of API activity, which is very important when you are doing audits for data compliance. And you can use services such as AWS Config for compliance automation. Cloud can make meeting compliance much easier, but you must design controls and processes early and correctly. Cloud tools make compliance manageable but not automatic. So that's why you as an organization, as a business owner, you must make sure that while setting up your businesses, on the cloud or on the internet, you have to make sure that you are taking advantage of the cloud services that are there, right? So nextly, we'll be looking at managed AI ML services, even if you lack in-house AI engineers. So a very common use case now is that, oh, we want to build, or rather, we want to infuse or introduce AI or machine learning into our business, our online business, our product, our services, but we don't have data scientists in our teams. We only have a software developer. We don't have a data scientist. We don't have a data engineer, right? But with services such as Amazon Recognition, you're able to basically infuse image and video analysis APIs for common problems, right? So there's no need for any machine learning expertise. You just get your API, define. If you have used Amazon Recognition before, you'd see it's very easy. Send an API request with your feed. It's able to recognize what needs to be recognized there. You can also use Amazon Comprehend, which uses natural language processing to extract text and also analyze them and also do some sentiment detection, and also use some other advanced services such as Amazon Personalize, which is like a recommendation engine without deep machine learning expertise, very similar to what is being done at Netflix. You can also use services such as Amazon Forecast, which Amazon Forecast and SageMaker, which basically helps you build models for things like prediction models, churn models, fraud detection models, whatever on Amazon SageMaker, right? So managed AI services on AWS would help you reduce friction for getting started. I know it can seem like a lot for a developer, or you're trying to get started in AI ML, but you don't have the time or the resources to start learning from the scratch. So AWS has lots of managed services and resources that will help you get started easy. And for custom models, you can even train them on AWS. So my advice is that if you are trying to get um, into the into the space of AI services on AWS, you should start small. Definitely start small. Look for a specific use case. For example, now maybe something like maybe auto tagging images, right? Or maybe when your users upload an image, you want to tag them immediately. You can use AI to automate all of these. Maybe fraud, trying to detect fraud. Just small use cases. Look at the business outcomes before going all out there, right? So um, So I've talked about a lot of things, right? Talked about a lot of services. I've also spoken um, concisely about how lots of organizations, big multilateral organizations, are taking advantage of AWS, and also some common, should I say, questions that usually arise when businesses want to get into the cloud, and they will need maybe some strategy to help them look at some of the questions that are usually asked. So I'm talking about why companies choose AWS for its scale. Companies choose AWS basically because of its scale, its breadth of services. AWS has an array of services, its security posture, and its partner ecosystem. Talking about the partner ecosystem now, um, Actualize Integrated is an AWS advanced tier partner, and all of these things that I just mentioned in this presentation, we're able to help businesses achieve all of those things. Well, an we have several AWS certified solutions architects on the team who are able to intricately analyze your business use case and are able to help you develop cloud native solutions that would solve any challenge that you have. We are also very specialized in the African markets migration. We've done migrations for companies across Africa, in all regions: West Africa, South Africa, Northern Africa, East Africa. We also have some migrations we've done for companies even outside of the African continent. We have over 100 successful cloud transformations that we've done for organizations. Um, we usually start assessments, we build a pilot, and then we put phases and ongoing optimizations, and we bring local market understanding for African customers, right, in terms of regulatory and operational realities. We are able to partner with AWS to accelerate your cloud projects, right? So, firstly, if you are interested, in getting to know more, if you have a particular challenge or business use case, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We can quickly schedule a 30 minutes to 1 hour call, discovery call, where we're able to map your operational challenge or your business challenge. And then we go into our pilot phase where we're able to help you with whatever workload you need to migrate or whatever deployment you need to do. Most times we're able to do a free POC for organizations if they qualify for that. And then we do a bring a phased migration plan for organization to benefit from. Right. So these are the details to reach out to us. You can reach out to us via our website, www.attracintegrated.com, or you can send an email to awsteam@attracintegratedgroup.com or info@attracintegrated.com. We're also located here. We have an office here in Lagos at Surulere. You can walk into our office anytime to have a conversation with us. So thank you very much for the presentation. Abulaji.
All right, very great. I want to give a good thank you to Mr. Paul for sharing all of the insights, and I believe everyone who has joined has been able to pick one or two things about how the cloud can help their business, how it can help them scale faster, automate things. It made mention of different scenarios of companies that are currently using cloud and how they're using it. So what are you waiting for? So you can always get started with a certified AWS partner like Authorized Integrated. You're an advanced partner, and what we basically do is to just help your business. So at the same time, we are offering a more of like a promo currently, and I would like to play a short video that explains about what we're doing. Thank you. Take a moment to listen.
Every business deserves to be seen and to thrive. At Arthurite Integrated, we believe that every entrepreneur has the potential to break through barriers and reach new heights. Imagine your business, fully visible and engaging with customers like never before. If you're ready to take the leap into the cloud but feel overwhelmed by the thought of not having a website, let us take that weight off your shoulders. Our first step? Building a stunning website for you, completely free. That's right. We want to ensure you have a strong online presence from day one. Visibility is the lifeblood of any business. Without it, even the best products can go unnoticed. That's why we're excited to introduce the Arthurite Business Visibility Drive. This initiative is designed to empower small businesses by enhancing their online presence and connecting them with their target audience. With our expert team, we'll guide you through every step of the process, from crafting a compelling website that reflects your brand's identity to optimizing it for search engines. We're here to ensure your business shines. But it doesn't stop there. We offer ongoing support, helping you navigate the digital landscape with confidence. Whether it's social media strategies, online marketing, or customer engagement, we're committed to your success. Join us on this journey. Let's transform your vision into reality and make your business a beacon in the digital world. Together, we can unlock your potential and drive your business forward. Your cloud journey starts here, and we can't wait to be part of it. Every business deserves to be seen and
All right. That was from AI, and it was able to like spotlight what we are currently doing. Is our business visibility drive. We understand that for every business, most especially small medium businesses, they have to consider having their own online presence, which is always like a challenge for most businesses, and we're trying to solve that by our free website. We're giving you for free with 2 email for start to just get you started to cloud. So the drive is that by the time you get it for free, then from there we can continue business with you, migrate your website to the cloud, then deliver some other AWS services for you. So what are you waiting for? It's high time that you message us. We are always available. You can always see our details on our website, www.authorizeintegrated.com. Also, you can also contact us on our email, which is info@authorizeintegrated.com. Thank you for listening to us. We hope to see your business scale faster while you're trying to save cost. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And we are going to end this edition today at this moment, and we are also we will also be continuing this because it's going to be throughout of November. We are also continuing with the next edition next week Friday, and also after that we are going to have another edition. Will be the last edition on the 28th of November. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us so far. We want to thank you and appreciate you for joining, and see you next week. Thank you. Bye.
every business deserves to be seen and to thrive. At Arthurite Integrated, we believe that every entrepreneur has the potential to break through barriers and reach new heights.